Hi, everybody. Welcome to the KC CHIROpulse podcast, brought to you by CATS Consultants, helping chiropractors keep their pulse on success. I'm Dr. Michael Perusich, and I'm joined today by Mr. Steve Weber from Zingit Solutions. Steve, how are you?
I'm doing fabulous. Thanks for having me today.
Well, we appreciate you coming on here. You know, your program really helps doctors efficiency-ize, if I can make up a word, helps really make their practices much more efficient, productive, saves a lot of time. And, you know, technology like yours today is really beneficial to the chiropractic practice. So tell us a little bit about just kind of the evolution of your company, what you do, and how that technology is important.
Yeah, happy to. So we started Zingit a little over 10 years ago. So we've been doing this for quite a while. And when we started out, it was really about two-way communications via text. And no real system had that in the marketplace. So we brought that to chiropractors. We started about 9 years ago, really. I think we moved into chiropractic heavily. And so it started with that. It moved to appointment reminders from there because it was a natural progression. But then, you made up a word. I'm going to make up a word too. I like to
Feel
use it.
free.
It's called automagical. So what we do is a bit automagical because we will take a connection with your existing scheduler, EHR, whatever you use to manage your practice. We integrate with over 100 of them.
That's amazing.
And with that integration, we can pull the data that's already in there, and then we automate engagement. We automate text messaging, we automate conversations, we automate delivering content. And when you think about how you can apply that across your practice, there's a number of different areas. And so when we look at the evolution, next thing you know, beyond appointment reminders, it was, oh, how do we reactivate dormant patients? Oh, well, I'm sending, those postcards and letters for reactivations. All right, I can switch that. Oh, we also send out birthday cards. Well, how about we send a video birthday card via text? How about that? They get it on their exact birthday. It's a
That's
video. They're
awesome.
like, oh, we love that. So we continue to add more functionality. And then, we added reputation management because there was a big change with Google and Yelp and folks about 5 years ago, where they just said, hey, if you're not an authenticated review platform, we're not going to prioritize you. So there were all these review platforms out there, but people could control their reviews. They could decide what to post, what not to post. And Google said, well, on Google My Business, the person posts it and the business can't control it. The business can respond to it, but they theoretically can't control it. So reviews from there and reputation management became super important, and that's been a big focus. And then we've continued to evolve with more features around things like broadcast messaging has been super helpful during the pandemic, and getting a message out to a list of patients, and you build that list out of your EHR information. And then website conversion tools, online scheduling, e-intake forms. So e-forms are a big area that we're focusing on now. And it continues to evolve in the features that we can bring to a practice. And really, one of the nice things too, to make it more personalized, is over the last couple of years, the cell phone carriers have started to support something called 10DLC, which is 10-digit long code. It's a technical term that basically means you as a business now can send and receive text messages on the same business phone number that you talk on.
I'm
And
glad you explained 10 DLC because for a minute I thought maybe that was a rap group.
no, that's different. So that
So,
was
okay,
different.
so let's back up here for just a second because you're talking about some major advancements in technology over time. I'm sitting here thinking while you're talking, gosh, 25 years ago, we had paper schedules. We were just coming into the technology of the internet, and which was forcing us to use computers more, but we had paper schedules, we had answering machines, and we picked up the phone to actually call people to remind them about their appointments or that they hadn't been in for a while, a reactivation patient. Technology has completely changed the landscape of all that.
Let me give you a great example. Confirming appointments. right? So I get
Right.
asked a lot, how do I know a patient's confirmed? I said, well, let's take a step back. Some of the early adopters in patient engagement came out and they went to practice and they said, you're calling all your patients. How about if we send them an email 2 days before? And if they confirm, we'll tell you. If they don't confirm, then you just call those patients. So suddenly the phone calls were cut in half, sometimes by 60 or 70%. Well, that was fantastic. Fast forward, nobody, read rates on email are really low. Answering rates, we've already talked about answering phone calls,
Right.
are really low. Texting has by far the highest read rate. But what some businesses did is they took that same principle and they said, well, all right, let's ask them to confirm over text. And then people say, well, do you guys confirm? The question I ask back is why? Do you call them if they don't confirm? And they said, well, no. I said, well, why do you ask them to confirm? And they go, I don't really know. So I said,
Seemed like a good idea.
how about we do this? How about we flip it on its head? And instead of asking them to confirm, we make the assumption, because 85% of patients show up. In most cases, 80 to 85% are going to show up. So let's focus on the 15% that maybe have an issue by telling them in the message, it's assumptive. You've got an appointment. Here's what it is. We assume you're going to be there. If
Right.
you can't make it, or if you have a question, reply to this text. If they say, oh, I didn't have time to reply to the text, that's kind of hard to believe. Most people can find time to do that. But if you send the message out that says reply 1 to confirm, 2 to change it, it sounds like you're talking to a computer. It's not personal, so people aren't going to have a tendency to reply and talk to you. And so what we've been about for years has been driving that patient engagement, driving conversations, because we don't want to lose the personal interaction.
And I'm glad you brought up the whole idea of patient engagement, because we talk about that a lot with marketing, with report of findings, and getting people to commit to care and those kind of things. That engagement is incredibly important. So you're using technology, integrating it into the chiropractic systems that are already in place, and using that technology to help increase the amount of engagement with patients. That's an amazing thing.
Well, they don't answer the phone anymore, so how else are you going to engage
Right.
with them? People will tell me too, they're like, we prefer to talk to our patients on the phone. And I'm like, well, I do too. I would love it if everybody answered my phone call, but they don't. So, hey, why don't you share with me your magic elixir that gets the person to answer your phone call every time? Because most of the people I talk to say they only get maybe 2 out of 10 phone calls answered.
Right. Yeah. And today's society just doesn't answer the phone. And they don't even listen to their voicemails anymore.
Yeah.
So, you
54%, and that study is about, I think it's 3 years old. It was from Pew Research. 54% don't listen to voicemails. It's got to be much higher than that now.
probably, and we have to really learn as entrepreneurs. So we'll take our chiropractic hat off for just a second and put our entrepreneur hat on. As technology advances and as consumer attitudes change, for example, they don't answer the phone anymore, we've got to change along with that. And the good news is there are great companies like yours out there that are bringing that technology and connecting it back to the systems you already have in place in your practice. So you've got to be able to embrace these kind of things. And I hear doctors all the time say, "Oh, technology, we just don't need it. We're just going to stay with a paper schedule." Wow. Do you have a dinosaur in the backyard too that you called Dino? You've got to embrace the technology, because it's what's going to move you forward, make you more efficient, reduce your overall costs, especially on the employee side of the ledger, and probably increase your retention dramatically.
Well, would you think about having an office without a phone? You
No.
wouldn't dare think of that. And sometimes when I talk to people and they're like, yeah, we don't, our patients don't like texting. And I'm like, okay, that's an interesting viewpoint, because I'm sure you can find people that don't like texting. And I used to tell people for many, many years, we develop solutions for the majority and we build workarounds for the exceptions. And I would say the same thing goes for every practice. Yeah, I'm sure you have people that don't like texting, and you may not like texting, but that doesn't mean the majority of your patients don't. So
Correct.
we don't get to make the rules. If we want to play in the market, we've got to recognize what the market is and adjust to it accordingly. And nobody advertises in the yellow pages anymore, do they?
Don't need to. That's for
You want,
sure.
you want me to tell you what your number one yellow page advertisement is?
What is it?
It's the reviews on Google My Business.
There you go. There you go. Back to technology. I
Because
love it.
here's the deal. I mean, come on. I don't want to get off on a tangent on Google owning the world, but they carry the lion's share of the search traffic, right? Nobody's going to argue with that. Google says that 70% of searches are what are considered local or have local intent. So I'm looking for a provider near me, or I'm looking for a provider in a town, which means Google is going to display a local map. Right there on that local map is going to be right below the name of your business are going to be your Google reviews.
Yep.
That's your Yellow Pages ad.
Yeah, front and center.
How much money did you used to spend on Yellow Pages ads in your practice? I mean, $1,500 to $2,000 a month, I used to hear people tell me.
Sure.
And you don't want to spend a couple $100 a month to make sure you have the Google Yellow Pages ad available. So.
Yeah, and that's the nice thing about technology is it has actually brought a lot of our costs down too. So again, embrace it. It's here to stay. And we appreciate companies like yours that are keeping us advanced with those technological aspects and making it easy for us to plug those into our practices. So we appreciate it. Steve, thanks for coming on today. Really appreciate it. Everybody, Steve Weber with Zingit Solutions, and I'm Dr. Michael Perusich. On behalf of CATS Consultants, thanks for joining us on the KC CHIROpulse podcast, helping you keep your pulse on success. Be sure to check us out at catsconsultants.com. And from all of us here at CATS Consultants, stay informed and well adjusted. We'll see you next time.